Hey, it's Helena. I'm a world-traveling astrocartographer, venturing to my different astrocartography lines and traveling to the right place at the right time, using a combination of relocated charts and cyclocartography. I travel to my best astrocartography lines when they're being transited by major planets, by transits and progressions. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my recent trip to Dubai and the UAE. I'm a big believer in following your intuition and allowing your gut and your inner voice to guide you where you should be. But I like to use a combination of astrocartography, timing, and my intuition to lead the way. And in this vlog, I'm going to take you to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, where I had the most incredible time traveling to my Sun ascendant line, my North Node descendant line, and my Pluto descendant line. Plus, I even had the Moon IC line close by. I have always felt an emotionally heartfelt connection to the UAE, and this is a place that did not disappoint. Not only did I feel absolutely incredible there, especially during these transits that I have going through this area, but I also learned so much about myself. When I think of the Sun ascendant line, I think of personal development. This was a place where I got a lot of clarity on what I'm doing, where I'm going, and what I want. The sun is spirit. Going to Sun astrocartography lines can activate a sense of spirit, a sense of coming home to your goals, your aspirations, your motivations, and your potential. And going to this Sun ascendant line in Dubai did not disappoint. And I was supposed to stay a lot longer, for an entire month, but a strong gut feeling inspired me to leave sooner. And so I left right before the floods that came to the UAE and flooded Dubai. What's fascinating is right before I felt the gut feeling to leave, I had a conversation with my Uber driver where he expressed his fears and worries about flooding happening in Dubai. I didn't expect flooding to happen, but a gentle nudge from my inner voice guided me home. And in this vlog, I'm going to share with you the journey on what it was like going to my Sun ascendant line in the UAE. Be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe, and check out my free astrocartography guide and cheat sheet so you can get my free astrocartography gifts, as well as my free astrocartography newsletter series where I share tons of tips, resources, and inspiring stories to help you understand your own astrocartography map and relocated charts. Let's get into today's vlog. Hey there, it's me, Helena from helenawoods.com. Welcome back, and I wanted to share a little update on Dubai and what it's been like in the UAE, what my experience has been after being here, and talk a little bit about the relocated chart and how the relocated chart has surprisingly had an immediate effect since I got here. The thing about relocated charts is that they don't manifest immediately. Just like how your birth chart when you're born isn't automatically right away manifesting. Like when you're born, you grow into your chart. As you get older and you experience events and themes in your life, your natal promise and your chart starts to tell its story. And that's something that I have learned and studied, is that you grow into your chart over time. You grow into your relocated chart. But here's the thing. The thing is, here in the UAE, I have experienced my relocated chart so strongly in multiple areas of life. And I want to talk about my experience being here so that you can learn from me based on this chart that I'm about to show you. I'm going to walk you through the experience I had in the UAE traveling to these astrocartography lines, but going a bit deeper in terms of the relocated chart, so you can understand the stories of how you too can interpret your own relocated chart based on a new location in the world. This is quite shocking, and it's been really interesting to see how these storylines have already played a key role just in the short time that I've been here, which kind of goes against what I've said previously of
you don't activate the whole story of your relocated chart immediately. It takes time, you grow into it, because that's been my experience. And living in France, and a lot of my experiences in France, they didn't happen immediately. They happened years in. And it's the same with my clients. Stories happen when you spend a lot of time in a place and you begin to live there. However, my experience in the UAE has been very different, because literally when I got here, all of the different areas of life, they had the planetary archetypes that are in those houses, in those areas of life in the relocated chart. They started playing a story. And I'm going to talk about that today with you in this video. The most important thing that defined my experience in the UAE was, number one, I felt incredibly grounded and earthy and solid and just comfortable here. And that is indicated by the Taurus rising, the Taurus on the ascendant in the new relocated chart, with the sun and the south node. Now, I have noticed that anytime I go to a Sunline, I've noticed that there's a consistent theme of personal development. Personal development, wanting to improve the self, wanting to get better at goals and aspirations and the potential of self. That is something that consistently happens when I go to Sunlines. And that has been my experience here. It's been a lot of personal development podcasts. I've taken some personal development courses while I've been here, just in my own free time when I'm not working. I've been taking classes online about, setting goals and goal setting and, different ways to build habits and things like that. The other thing that I really noticed was that south node in the first house and the north node in the seventh, because again, the nodes are always opposing each other. Exactly. I don't really want to be alone here. And it's so different from my natal chart, because in my natal chart, I've got the north node in the first. The obsession, the insatiability with wanting to be independent and to do your own thing and to be self-reliant. That is something that is just a part of me. It's who I am. It's what I was born obsessed with. And the south node is what you are apathetic about or careless about, or it's just not something that is as much of your focus, but it's something that's very comfortable and familiar to you. It's something that you can have a talent with, or there's just some sort of comfortability with it. That's the south node. And my south node, of course, is opposing the first, which is about partnership and being with a spouse or a married partner, or relationships, the intimacy of bonds, others as opposed to self. And coming out to the UAE, that was reversed. I have the south node on my sun in the first house. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to spend my time alone. I want to be with my partner. I'm obsessed with my partner. I want to be with him all the time. And that is something that's come up for me here, is literally the minute I got here, I'm always thinking about him all the time. And of course, I've been married with my partner. We've been together for almost 10 years. So I am always thinking about him. He's the most important thing in my life, but it's also the thing that has always been easy and comfortable and good and solid. And it's always the thing I never think about really, or I don't have to worry about, because it's something that's just so easy. Relationships for me are so easy. And that is something I've never had a hard time with or manifesting. I just have a lot of ease in terms of love and partnership. And my marriage with my husband is insanely good and insanely strong and solid. And so because of that, I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not insatiable toward it, because it's easy. And it's interesting because being here, my north node is on the partner, and the south node of letting go and carelessness or apathy is on the self. And it's I just don't want to be alone. One of the big things that I did notice as well was I have so much energy here. You guys may remember in my last video, I talked about that Saturn ascendant and then Saturn transit hitting that timing wise. I'm so tired in France, right? Not here. The minute my plane landed, I felt so much energy, productivity, this sense of aliveness, this sense of enthusiasm physically. And it's been like that ever since I got here. I go to the gym every day. I go swimming. I walk miles every day. I'm insanely productive. I get so much work done here. Physically, I feel so vital. And you would wonder, with that south node on the ascendant, you would think there would be a drain of the body, because the south node is a drain or a drag. But that south node has not affected me physically. It's been vital and joyous energy, if anything. And again, focusing on personal development. But the thing that I noticed is the strongest thing I noticed about being in the UAE is that I can't stop thinking about my partner. I call him a million times a day. Sometimes I'll just like have him, like we'll put video chat or Zoom or whatever, and I'll just be working and doing my own thing, but he's there. And I never do that, guys. Like, to me, that seems clingy and that seems needy. And I don't like clingy, needy. It's like relationships, family, like I don't like that at all. And it's one of the things that like repulses me most in terms of like relationships, is I really don't care for clinginess or like neediness or being dependent on me, because again, I'm so self-reliant and I'm a free spirit. I just want everyone to do their own thing and be happy, and don't rely on me for like making you happy, right? That's just kind of my overall like personality and outlook on life. And it's like here, I'm so clingy. I just want to be with him. I want to be with partnership. I'm going home a little early because I just want to be with him. I am going home a little early because it's so insatiable. That North Node in the 7th is like, I have to be with him. The Pluto, the Jupiter, it's just a lot. It's a lot in that 7th house of partnership, as you can see here. The other thing I wanted to mention, some other things that I've noticed, Venus relocated to the 2nd house. Venus in the 2nd house can be spending a lot of money or overindulgence, whether it's food and resources or like spending money. And that's something that's definitely happened here. And I didn't I didn't plan this. I didn't like look at my chart and be like, oh, this is how the situation's gonna be. No, like I came here with just a very neutral, like I'm ready for the experience to just show me what it is, because I'm on a research project. You know, I'm on an observational research project. I'm writing about my experiences traveling to these different places, and there's no bias here. There's no, you know, anticipating things to happen. It's just, I come here, I know the lines that are here, and then I come here and then I allow the experience to unfold as it is. Venus in the 2nd house is such a big indicative, because Venus relocated to the 2nd house can be overspending or overindulgence. And that is an experience that happens. And also the fickleness of Gemini. Notice that I have the 2nd house in Gemini relocated in this chart. Gemini is fickleness or changing your mind, seeing multiple perspectives. I change my mind constantly here with money. Like, I'll be thinking I want something and then I don't, or like I'll want to order some food and then I change my mind at the last minute. Like, it's just a lot of that, which is not like me. I'm not usually living that kind of experience, but it has been since I got to the UAE. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? That Gemini Venus in the 2nd house. It's wild, right? The other thing that's really obvious to me since being here is the moon in the 4th house. The Leo moon is relocated to the 4th on the IC. And I feel so connected to the UAE emotionally. I also just want to be at home all the time. I don't want to go out and explore. I just want to like chill in my Airbnb or my hotel. I'm currently at the St. Regis in Dubai right now on Marriott Bonvoy points, which I have a course coming out where I'm going to teach you about how I like travel for free and all that. But I just want to be in my room. I want to be in the lobby having a coffee and working. I don't want to go out. I don't want to be adventurous. I don't want to explore. I've done some exploring. Like, I really wanted to go to all the old markets, old Dubai, the souks, the mosques. You know, I want more of the cultural experiences, the traditional experiences here in the UAE, but I'm just not interested in like the glitz and the glam of Dubai. And most people who come to Dubai, they like go out for nightlife and they go out to clubs and bars and restaurants, and I just don't care. I just want to work and be at home. So, you know, that Taurus rising, you know, that wanting comfort, seeking nice things, nice quality experiences, Venus in the 2nd house. But then that Leo moon in the 4th is like wanting nice atmosphere, wanting to have nice things, but being kind of rooted somewhere. And also that emotional connection that I have to the culture here. I really feel connected to the culture here in the UAE. And I've had a lot of clients that have been like, why are you in the UAE? Like, is it safe for women? Is it okay? And it's like, oh my God, yes. So many people, you know, I think Americans especially, we have this preconceived notion about the UAE being like this dangerous place. And it's like, it's actually incredibly safe. It's one of the safest places for women, for solo female travelers. I walked around the other day at the marina, 1 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's out, it's Ramadan, you know, everyone's out with their families, kids. It's incredibly alive, and I feel so safe, so incredibly safe here.
This is a Christmas tree if I ever saw one. Look at that tree. That is beautiful. Look at all those little bulbs. Oh, holy night here in Dubai in April. Magical. And it's midnight. It is midnight right now. And I am just walking around the marina and everyone's out. Everyone's having dinner and hanging out and walking around.
The final thing that really is obvious to me here is that I'm kind of cut off from friends, community, and social media. And look at that Saturn relocated to the 11th house. The Saturn in the 11th house is feeling like a block or an invisible barrier or a restriction from an area of life. And the 11th house is friendship, community, social networks. And that is something that's been very striking for me here. I'm actually taking time off social media. I am completely like off Instagram, like deleted the app. I've just no interest in, to be honest, connecting with community right now. And this isn't usually like me. Like I love community, I love social media, I love Instagram, I love creating content and bringing people together and making people happy. Like that is something I love. I also love friendship, and female friendships are like one of those treasured things in my life. But it's weird because like I just feel like I want to be more alone. I don't really want to connect right now. You know, I talk with my friends all the time, voice memo, Instagram, texts, and I just feel like really cut off from friends. And it's nothing that they've done, nothing literally that's happened or anything. I just connecting with friends and community and social networks and networking of any kind, right? That 11th house, it's not something that's a priority for me at all. And that cut-offness, that feeling like a barrier from that, I've been feeling it since I got here, and it's just so apparent and so striking to me. And looking at this relocated chart, I'm like, wow, it's wild how my relationship to different areas of life is changing just by traveling. And part of me wonders, is it the Saturn-Mercury square that I'm experiencing right now? You know, Saturn is squaring my natal Mercury, so that not wanting to speak, which is something I did predict for my Saturn return at this time. I made that video a year ago. But isn't that interesting that these different storylines have already played out, have already happened for me? And it's so indicative of the relocated chart, because the relocated chart, a lot of people will think, you know, oh, but astrology, it's like the Barnum effect. It's all general, right? No, actually, it's very specific. The 11th house is not the second house. The second house is not the seventh. They're very specific areas of life that we're talking about. You know, the 6th house is physical health and illness and accidents and pets and animals. The 12th house is mental health, spirituality, solitude, big animals like horses and whales. Like, we have different areas of life that mean literal specific things, and planets mean very specific things, and the signs have specific themes and energies around them. And it's just so interesting that this has played out so specifically and literally in my life. I feel great on this Sunline. I feel very happy on this Sunline. I love being here. I feel so good when I'm here. And part of me doesn't want to leave at all. I feel so great here, but that obsession with my partner, that obsession with him, it's angular. The 7th house is an angular house, and it's so potent for me here. And they bring a lot of potency and obvious energy to the surface. And that 1st and 7th house axis is so lit up. And when I was in California, for instance, when I was back in California in LA, if you guys remember my trip to LA, when I went to that Jupiter line, and you can watch that video there, that North node was in my house of independence, my sense of self, and the South node was in the 7th house of partnership. And it's the reverse of this experience here. When I was in LA, my husband and I, of course we talk every day, but I was so happy on my own. Like, I really didn't talk to my husband too much like I am here. There was this obsession with like improving self and doing my own thing and being independent and like not relying on anyone. And that energy was so obvious in LA and in California and growing up in California as a kid. But it's interesting how the story with LA is so different from here in the UAE, because those nodes have flipped to the opposite houses, the 1st and 7th house axis. And so this is why I recommend looking at those angular houses and noting where the nodes are, especially if they're in angular houses, the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses in the relocated chart, because something that's very interesting that's happened for me here. And yeah, I'm going home early because it's like I need to be with my partner, and like it's wild. So I'm a little like, I feel like part of me is like, I feel like a failure for like ending my trip early a little bit, because I did want to go on, and I am continuing on. I have a flight in 2 weeks. So I have a flight out to Japan with my husband, Alex, and then I'll be in Japan because it's a Jupiter line, and there's some cool transits happening to that relocated chart. So I want to experience that, and then I'm going to head to Sri Lanka after. So I'm kind of changing my plans a little bit, but it feels good and it feels right. And I'm going back home early, and it feels like, I feel like a failure for going back home early, honestly. But I'm doing it because that node wants me to return home, and I'm going to honor that. And honor that feeling, even if it's not the right thing to do, because I don't want to be back in France on that Saturn line during that Saturn transit. I don't want to be there, but it feels like I need to, and it feels right, and it feels peaceful, and so that's what I'm gonna do. But I hope that this video helps support you in any way. I hope it's a little story time chat, but I just wanted to share my experience because I hope that what I shared was valuable and useful in terms of understanding charts and relocated charts, and how this story of place can come up in a variety of different ways. And yeah, I hope this helps support you, and you feel at least you got something valuable and helpful and useful from this. I really hope so.
I'm now on to the next place. And in the next video, I'm going to be showing you my journey going to my Jupiter IC line in Japan. I'll see you in the next astrocartography vlog. And don't forget to check out my astrocartography blog and website down below in the description. I hope you have a magical day, and happy astro travels.